This episode starts off with Tyrion and Jaime talking about how Tyrion has basically screwed himself over in the court case. I'm not going to. Is it court case? Trial? The trial, prosecution of Tyrion, as I'm going to call it. Obviously, Jaime's pissed at him because Jaime's sorted out a deal with his dad to save Tyrion. But basically, we all know deep down that Tywin Lannister's end game was always to, send Tyrion to the wall and have Jaime return to Castle Rock in his stead, or whatever the hell they call it. So obviously by Tyrion saying that he wants a trial by combat, he's blown all those plans out the water. And not only that, you could tell Jaime is scared of losing his brother. I mean, even though they have their differences, they're still blood, they still love each other, which is really sweet to see. So yeah, Jaime and Tyrion are talking about that, and Tyrion goes, "Oh, who is fighting against my champion?" And there's silence, and it cuts to Cersei. What, this woman, she's just wow, I'm not gonna lie, I'm always impressed and scared and petrified by her. So yeah, Cersei is watching this can I call him a man? Should I call him a beast? Man slash beast figure stabbing up these poor innocent slaves. This beast stab this random dude in the chest with this wooden device, and then Cersei, does her little sexy walk, steps over the dead bodies, and is basically like, "You will be my champion." And you find out that that's the mount. Moving on swiftly, the next good scene is of Arya. I say good scene like Game of Thrones has a bad scene. It really doesn't. You see Arya and Sandor come across some random dude that's been stabbed up, and Sandor does like a little mercy killing and kills him. So they bump into this random dude that threatened to rape Arya, and Arya's like, "What's your name? Oh, that's nice." Pow! She kills him, just how Sandor killed that other dude in a mercy killing. Once again, Arya, boom, I have to spud you through the air because you're just incredible. You're never, just wow. I really hope that you don't die anytime soon because I'm loving watching you. At the beginning of the episode, Tyrion asks Jaime to call Bronn down. Obviously, Tyrion wants Bronn to fight for him. Bronn comes into Tyrion's dungeon chamber thing in these beautiful cloaks, new, style, slicked back hair, and you're like, Shit. Cersei's got to him. So obviously Bronn walks in, talks to Tyrion, and is like, "This is the situation, mate. Your sister has given me a wife, lands, busy on tap. What are you going to give me?" And you're thinking, Bronn, really? That's how it is between you two? After everything you and Tyrion have been through, you're sold on money? But then you think, isn't that how Tyrion bought him in the first place? During their conversation, Tyrion is like, "I always knew that you could be bought, and so I'm not surprised that this has occurred." And Bronn, even though I'm sad, Bronn basically says to Tyrion, "Peace out, deuces, I'm not going to fight for you," he does make a valid point of, "Yeah, I'm your friend, but when have you ever risked your life for me?" And then you think, that's kind of true. I'm really torn about this whole Bronn thing. One hand, I understand that he came from nothing and has fought his way to where he is now, but then at the same time, you would have never been there if it wasn't for Tyrion. But at the same time, Tyrion owes his life to Bronn already. It's just a whole lot of ifs and buts and whats and whos, and all I can say is I'm upset that Bronn is not being a champion for Tyrion, but he makes very valid points when saying why he's not going to be his champion. Then obviously Bronn and Tyrion have a moment of good luck, love you brother, peace out. Another weird moment of this episode is Stannis' wife. She's a person that definitely needs to get killed off. I'm not gonna lie, she's a little freaky so-and-so. She's with the Red Witch woman of the Wicked West, and they're all having their special moment. And the way that Stannis' wife is looking at the Red Witch, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're a lesbo. Not that I'm against girl on girl action or guy on guy action. Do what you got to do to satisfy yourself. But I'm confused. I thought you're all about your husband man, and you hate any type of diversity, not following the man and wife traditional values. So for you to be looking at the Red Witch like you want to eat her up in more ways than one, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit Interesting. Stannis' wife, she's not even that big of a deal. I'm not gonna lie, she's one of those characters that's like, I call her a filler character. She's just there, she died, you wouldn't really like think about it. I call her Stannis' wife because I don't even remember her name. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to say sorry, that's a lie. I'm not sorry because this has to be brought up. Daenerys's dress in this episode. She has this sexy crisscross dress going on, which absolutely looks freaking hot. I don't back that way, but even I was like, damn, Daenerys, where you been? She is looking super hot. HOTTTT exclamation mark hot. Yeah, as I said, she's wearing this sexy crisscross thing, and that random hot warrior dude comes in and is like, I'm good at two things, war and making love. You have to send me to do one. And she's like, cool, take off your clothes. Not gonna lie, I sort of saw that happening. I think we, like, as an audience, we can all agree that you could see those two, building up to something. We haven't seen Daenerys with somebody since Drago, and in this episode, we're not seeing it. It's like she tells him to strip, then lights out, lights come back up, and the hot warrior dude exits Daenerys' room like, hey, she's in a good mood. It gets to one of the most interesting parts of the whole episode. I did not see this coming at all. Okay, let me explain. So Prince Oberyn, whatever the hell his name is, comes to see Tyrion in his cell and tells a story about how I saw you, or should I say I met you when you were a baby, and Cersei made you sound like some crazy evil animal who killed her mother, but when Cersei, revealed your face to me, they weren't that disgusted by what they saw, and he was actually disappointed about what they saw because he just thought, oh yeah, you were just a baby, that was a little odd looking. So that's not obviously the interesting part of this conversation. O describes how family means everything, his sister meant everything to him, and how he's going to seek revenge on his little sister's death. Then he brings up how the Mount is going to be for opponent in the trial combat thing, and how Prince O is going to step to the plate and to Mount because the Mount killed his baby sister. And obviously you hear how the Mount, raped and did awful things to Prince Oberyn's sister. I keep calling him Prince O. That's my nickname for him. Prince O's sister. Basically, Prince O wants his revenge. So he's like, I'll be your champion because the Mount is going to fight, and this is my perfect opportunity to show him what time it is and make him pay for what he did to my sister. What? Okay, obviously the speech was way more pow and incredible and like jaw-dropping than that, but I just thought I should give a little roundup, obviously. Prince O, I am so glad they introduced your character because you are just that extra bit of that Game of Thrones needs to be spicy. I don't know how else to describe him, but spicy. He's one of those, he's like a like a like a Game of Thrones version of the Mask of Zorro, don't you think? Let me just throw that out there. He's a fine looking fella. There's something about his accent and that tan, which I think is fake, that really is attractive. Anyway, okay. So another weird bit of the episode is when Littlefinger is with Sansa, and basically Sansa bitch slaps that foolish little boy that, I'm sorry, deserved to be slapped so long ago. It's actually ridiculous. He's the little brat that's Lysa's son. I don't even care about his name because he's so irrelevant. That boy needed to be slapped every day from the day that he was born. He's just such a spoiled little shit. I don't like to call kids that, but I think that's the appropriate word for him. So Sansa bitch slaps this little boy because he deserves it, to be frank. And Littlefinger sees and walks down. The little boys run off crying, and Santa's like, oh crap, I'm in trouble, help me. Littlefinger, aka Peter, is like, listen, don't worry, I'll handle it. And he's like, I always loved your mother and I'm going to be here to protect you. And then he kisses Sansa. I cringed. My inside cringed at this bit. I just feel very, very, very uncomfortable with whatever type of relationship is starting off between those two. She's so young and he's old. Like, I know back in those days, they love all that whole marrying the young, innocent young ladies, but even I'm like, ew, like, You guys need to put some rules back in those days for that type of age barrier. Oh, either way, Sansa and Peter kissed. It's really awkward. It's really gross. Didn't like it. And to make it worse, Lysa sees. And you're thinking, geez, Sansa, sleep with one eye open, because that WITCH is after you. She cray cray. We all know that. Let me skip to the ending of the episode, the best bit. Lysa corners Sansa, and straight away I'm like, Sansa, you should be careful where you kiss people. You should be careful. You should know that the walls have eyes, and Lysa is always watching you. Lysa corners Sansa and it's like, you kissed my man. How dare you? I'm going to get you, bitch. And she grabs Sansa by her long, beautiful ginger hair, which apparently is dyed. That's not her natural hair colour. Is that true? Maybe I need to investigate that. Anyway, minor detail that I don't really care about, to be honest. So Lysa grabs Sansa's hair, takes her over to that little hole in the floor, pushes her head over and is like, what are you doing with my man? What are you doing with my man? Blah, blah, blah. And you're thinking, who is going to die? Because the music, the lighting, somebody is going to perish. I don't know who. Or I just use the word perish. Go me. Then you hear Peter basically being like, woman, calm yourself down. Let go of Sansa. Obviously, Lysa does as Peter says because she's under his spell for whatever reason. She loves him, blah, blah, blah. Sansa, cries in the corner, and Peter does a dramatic walk up to Lysa and is like, there's only one woman I've ever loved. And Lysa's like, and obviously, he says, and that was your sister, Caitlin. Pop! Peter pushes Lysa over the edge and she goes flying, and she clearly hits those rocks, but you don't see that bit. Seeing the witch fly made me just think, ding dong, the witch is dead. I didn't feel bad for seeing Lysa die. I didn't feel bad that Peter killed her. I don't care that Lysa's son is going to be left without a mother, because the mother's crazy and adds nothing to that poor deluded boy's life. That boy needs to be raised by stable people, not some deranged fool. But I think that Lysa's already forced her craziness and her insecurities onto that little boy, and I think that little boy is, I don't like to say it, but spoiled goods. It's too late for him. So ends with obviously her flying and Peter looking all devilish and himself, and Santa crying in the corner, lights out. So I have to say, shout out to Littlefinger, Peter. I actually think Littlefinger, that nickname has to be left alone now, because Peter really is not a little finger at all. He's a big boy that's doing big boy things. Let me say, I think this season is the Peter season, where you really, really, really see what this man is made of. He is dangerous. Amazing episode. That's the ending of my review. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.